Hey everybody, welcome back to Gideon Stuff. Today we are reviewing the Remette Wild Species. This is the first knife from Remette that I've taken a look at. This is a very unique design and honestly kind of a popular one right now. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. Blade length, sharpened edge is coming in about 3.5 inches. If we measure all the way to the scales, we're basically 3.5 on the dot. So definitely a full-size EC knife, not huge, but full size. Go ahead and do our size comparisons. There's the Rat 2. Here's the Rat 1. Wow, I got them right that time. I pulled them out of order and I listed them correctly. Look at me. Yeah, so this knife feels a lot bigger than it is. You can see here it's kind of right between the two, but honestly it's a little closer in overall length to the smaller knife. So very, very cool. Obviously a lot more cutting edge, a lot more blade. Let's go ahead and bring out our Civivis. There's the Elementum. There's the Praxis. Cool, cool, cool. And let's grab our USA made comparisons. Spyderco PM2 and Benchmade Bug Out. Awesome. I think that's where we're going to cut it off on size comparisons today. So, materials on this guy. 14C, 28N, drop point blade, G10 scales, it's a steel liner lock, steel pocket clip, and we are running on bearings. Let's go ahead and go cut some stuff. I've been hearing a weird noise from over there. I hope you guys can hear that. What the hell is that? I have no idea. I'm down by the river. It could be literally anything. We may have to go investigate that here in a second. Get out of my face, fly. Interesting. Well, you guys ready to do some review cutting? Whew, all these flies, it's hot and humid. You might be wondering why I'm wearing a black shirt when it's 104 degrees out here. I just got back from work. Had a real great day at work. Recently, I've been working on identifying a Nothosaurus fossil. For those of you that don't know, I'm a geologist. I work in a Natural History Museum. I'm in the process of working my way to graduate degrees in paleontology. Anyways, been working on this Nothosaurus fossil. Finally got it all identified. Today I finished up my identification, verified my findings, wrote up a new description for the animal that we can use in a display. Updated our database on this fossil, and tomorrow I'm going to tell the curator that it is ready for display. So I was feeling pretty good after work today. Decided to run out here, film a review cutting. If you want more information on some of the stuff that I do like that, I actually did make a members exclusive post talking about the whole thing, showing pictures. I might throw up a picture here as a little sneak peek, but if you want in on that, become a channel member. All right, plug over. Today's knife, we are looking at the Remette Wild Species. And you know, it's kind of cool that I'm deciding to do the review cutting for this knife today. Wild Species. I spent the last couple of weeks identifying a species. It was kind of wild card. There's 12 different species of Nothosaur to choose from. 12 different species of Nothosaurus. And I have no idea what that is. Anyways, just kind of ironic. If you're watching this video on the day it comes out, keep an eye open for my 3,000 subscriber giveaway entry video. That should be coming tomorrow, actually. A little bit of a sneak peek for you guys that watch the reviews, watch this part. 3K giveaway is coming up tomorrow, the entry video. And I mentioned that because this knife is actually one of the giveaway prizes. Well, this is one of the giveaway prizes, but it is only for channel members. So Wow, look at that. A double membership plug before the end of the video. That's rare. I don't do that very often, so you guys are welcome. Or I'm sorry, depending on how you feel about shilling for myself. But if you want to win this knife, you can enter in. You can become a channel member. Becoming a member at any level automatically enters you to win this knife. Anyways, wow, this has been a really long preamble. Let's go ahead and talk about the damn thing. Remette Wild Species. Let's start off with the action. Incredible action. Absolutely incredible. The means of deployment are a front flipper and thumb studs. I'm not the biggest front flipper fan, but this is a good one. My favorite way to open front flippers is like that. But this does have the thumb studs, which I appreciate. I think that all front flippers should have a secondary means of deployment because not everyone is great with front flippers and not everyone likes front flippers. And so they're fine with, for me, like when I'm sitting and fidgeting, front flippers are fine. They're fun, you know, whatever. But when I'm actually carrying the knife, a front flipper I don't find to be the most natural way to deploy a knife and get it into use. So I appreciate that they have thumb studs. I will say I do think the thumb studs are a little bit too close to the scales and a little bit slippery. The thumb flick is just fine. That detent is dialed perfectly. The reverse flick is a little more tricky, but you just gotta come at it from the bottom and it works just fine. This knife also has a nice ting on the close. I hope that's coming across. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Great, great sounds. So yeah, the action on this thing is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, great, great action. How are the ergos? The ergos are very interesting. This knife kind of cants forward in a way. It's almost an arch shape, but it fits in the hand very nicely. Good hand-filling grip. You're going to have plenty of room on here, I think, for a wide variety of hand sizes. I don't have the biggest hands, but I've got like room for 2 extra fingers on here. You can choke up into this kind of choil area. This spot here, if you got big hands, your pinky can hang on back there. The ergos are overall really nice. There are some sharp edges, and I could do without this thing right here. But other than that, the ergonomics are very, very good. How does it carry? Well, we have a single position pocket clip. Sorry, lefties. And whoops. Today, I was carrying the CRKT Squid and the CGRB Pyrite. That one's a Knife Center exclusive. Okay, how does it go in the pocket? Not a deep carry clip, but that's fine, right? I think that works pretty well. The clip itself, nothing special, nothing to really write home about, but it also doesn't do anything wrong. It's a good clip. I think it's completely functional. Is it my favorite clip? No, but it works. The knife itself, it's on the bigger side for an EDC knife, I guess, but I wouldn't consider it to be unmanageable. All right, let's go ahead and cut some stuff. Flat ground blade, 14C, 28N, drop point. See how this thing slices. Do you see all that sand that came out of there? Oh, man. Oh, man. So the other day, I was at White Sands. I found myself at White Sands. Me and a friend. And we didn't have sleds or anything, but I had this piece of cardboard in my truck, and we tried sliding with it. It didn't work out that great, but got a bunch of gypsum sand in there. Don't tell the government, please. So, yeah, that's cool. As far as slicing goes, yeah, this knife is a very good slicer. The blade geometry is nice, but also the ergos, the way the blade kind of leans forward a little bit, gives you a lot of leverage. It works out very, very nicely. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and do our rope pull. Felt great. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that did wonderfully. That did wonderfully. Big fan of that. Great Great all-around blade, honestly. You got a lot of robustness as well as sliciness, and I think that's just about the best you can hope for. Pool noodle time. Let's see how we do here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. All right, that last one, I was getting ambitious. I wasn't sure it would go, but it did. Look how thin and crisp that is. Look at that. Very consistent. Felt great going through the pool noodle. We didn't drag at all. We didn't catch. We didn't bind. We didn't rip. We didn't tear. That is good geometry. I'm going to have to go and find out what the heck that sound is over there. That is really, really weird. But there we go. Great performer. This is one heck of a knife. So let's get back to the table. Oh, come on. There we go. And we're back. Let's go ahead and talk about what I'm liking and not liking about this very, very cool little knife. Number one, the design is very interesting. On paper, this is a very boring knife. It's a G10 liner lock budget knife with a drop point 14C 28N blade. There's probably 100 knives that fit that description. But in praxis, oh my goodness. In practice, or I guess in reality, it's unique. This whole thing has kind of a curve to it, and it makes this knife feel different in hand, but also gives it a little bit of a unique look. It's a very good looking knife in my opinion. I really, really do enjoy the looks on this thing. Next thing, the name is kind of cool, Wild Species. That's an interesting name. Not sure how they came up with that, but I like it. There is a premium version of this available. So if you're a little bit more of a fancy fella, you can get that version. It's a titanium frame lock. So that's cool. They give us options. Let's talk about the action. The action on this thing is absolutely ridiculous. Now, front flipper and thumb studs. I am not the biggest front flipper guy, and I'm not the biggest fan of these thumb studs. We will come back to those in a little bit. And the front flipper too, you can see here, it's not jimped all the way up and over like I'd prefer it to be. But it's still easy enough to flip, and this thing is just ridiculously smooth. It's just incredible. The action on this is incredibly well dialed, and guys, we are so spoiled these days that we are getting actions like this on $50 knives. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Fit and finish on this guy was really nice out of the box. I do appreciate that there's minimal hardware, just these two screws here and the pivot, of course, pot clip screws. They are T6s, but they're decent enough hardware. I do like the G10 quite a bit. It's got nice little texturing to it, and got some milling. It's a little more interesting than just flat slab scales, so I always appreciate that. And I guess this is another thing about the aesthetics that I like. I do like the looks. Love the pivot collar. If you guys know me, I'm a sucker for pivot collars. Pivot collars are just amazing. Such an easy way to class up a knife. And the thumb studs are pretty unique because they have like this little anodized blue bit in them. It's kind of cool. Almost looks like opal or mother of pearl or something, like very cheap mother of pearl maybe, but it's cool. I like it quite a bit. And the knife does have, again, it's just got features that make it feel designed. This little cutout on the flipper tab, it's kind of neat, just a design feature. As for the performance, the ergonomics on this knife are good. Like I said, they're kind of unique. You have this area here that does work as like a choil that you can get up in. Very comfortable hand-filling knife. This is not a thin knife. Let's go ahead and bring out VVL Mintum, I guess, and we'll compare thicknesses. So yeah, you can see there, it's a little bit of a beefy knife, which I don't mind, honestly. I think, obviously, that leads it to filling out the hand better, and I appreciate that. I do like the way this feels in hand. We'll come back to the ergonomics a little bit later, but this is a very unique feeling knife, and through the use that I was putting it through, it did just fine for everything I needed. The way it does kind of arch puts the tip a little bit lower than it otherwise would be, so you can get to the tip a little bit easier. The blade itself is a beautiful looking blade. We got bead blast here, which I don't really like. We have a satin finish on the flats, but it cuts fine. We've got good geometry on here, saber grind. As far as an EDC knife goes, this is going to do well for you. The blade isn't like particularly thin, but again, the geometry is done very well. This was a very good performer, actually. Very, very good performer. I love 14C28N, so great knife. No complaints with that blade at all. Next thing, access to the lock bar. I thought this was going to be an issue, but it's not. They actually done this very nicely. You can see the lock bar doesn't really stick out. There's no cutaway on this side of the scale, but they do give you these little chamfers in here, and sometimes that doesn't work the best. I was ready to complain about that when I first unboxed this knife, but honestly, I never had any issues with it whatsoever. There was never a time where I was like, oh gosh, I wish this lock bar was done better. So even though it doesn't look the best, it functions just fine in my experience. So that's really, really cool. I do like what they did with the lanyard back here. Kept it very minimal, but still kind of classy. Kind of mimics the front flipper area. It's very, very neat. The price on this is really good. I usually save the price for the end of the video, but price on this is good. Pocket clip works just fine. It's nothing fancy, nothing special, but I like it. And honestly, not every knife has to be deep carry. I think the ergonomics on this knife would have been screwed up if they had tried to put a deep carry clip on there, so I'm glad they went with this clip. In the hand, I can't feel it at all, so I really, really appreciate that. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to some negatives. First negative is that pocket clip is not reversible. I am sorry, lefties, Remette, they didn't think about you on this one. Next thing, I do wish that the front flipper had jimping that went all the way up and over, but I can't complain about it too much because, I mean, I can use it just fine. So what am I gonna complain about? That is the hardest one for me to do, is the over the top like that, but you can do it. So, I mean, it's more a personal preference at this point because the flipper, it works. So, can't get too mad at it. I do wish the jimping went down the blade a little bit further. When the knife is open, you got jimping here, and it's actually really nicely textured, but I don't like this grip back here. I do wish the jimping kind of extended out a little more. This is actually kind of sharp back here, but I complain about jimping all the time. Something I am going to complain about is these thumb studs. I'm not a big fan of the thumb studs. They look awesome, but they're round and they're very, very close to the scales. And so you've got to come at them from the bottom, and they work, again, but like especially for that reverse flick, I had to kind of adjust myself a little bit. And with thumb flick knives, let's see, do I have a knife that has a thumb stud? Oh, I've got this one sitting right here. I kind of like to come at them from a little bit of an angle, kind of like this, right? So, to me, that feels most natural with a thumb stud. With this one, I can't really come in at it from that way. I've got to go directly underneath. And again, there's no traction or anything, so these are not thumb studs that are particularly good for slow rolling. I do appreciate the artistry with the thumb studs, but I think they could be done just a little bit better. Another negative for me is actually with the ergonomics. I could do without this little point right here. It's not a huge deal, and in fact, in this grip here, which is the grip I was using the most, it falls right between these two fingers. It's not bad. If I'm back here though, it's right underneath my middle finger, and it is a little bit pokey. However, every single person I handed this knife to, like I talked to a bunch of people, I handed them this knife, none of them noticed that. All of them thought, yeah, it's cool, and I haven't heard any other reviewers mention that little point, unless I missed it. I think I've only watched like 2 videos on this knife. But, so yeah, that might just be a problem with my hands. We've talked on this channel. I've got kind of weird shaped hands. I've got like regular man-sized palms and then short, skinny girl fingers. So, if your hands are dimensioned like mine, maybe you should take that into consideration, because I sure noticed that little point. Again, it's not the worst thing ever. The ergonomics are still overall good, but yeah, it's definitely something I could do without. And honestly, those are really my only complaints. This is a really, really cool knife. This is a great design, and I applaud Remette. Is this worth the money? Absolutely. Can I recommend this knife? Absolutely. And I will be giving this knife away to channel members. I've already talked about that in the review cutting, but tomorrow I'm announcing the giveaway, so watch that video. But yeah, this is my first experience with Remette, and it has been positive. I'm going to go off on a little tangent here, just tell a story. So a while back, Remette actually reached out to me on Instagram offering to send me a knife to review. They were going to send me their Chameleon model to review. Now, unfortunately, they sent me that message during a pretty busy spell. I was doing a lot of research stuff, getting ready to present research, that was being published, getting ready to do some finals and things, and work was kind of picking up. So I was very, very busy. I did not end up responding to that message for, I think it was like 3 weeks after they sent it. I finally saw that message. And they reached out to me on Instagram. And so I told them, oh, yeah, sure, I'm sorry about getting back to you late, but if you want to send me this knife, that would be fantastic. And so I gave them my info and sent that message, and they never replied to me. Knife never showed up, which I don't blame them, honestly. Like, I was super late, but, it's a little bit disappointing, I guess. But as a lot of you know, I'm terrible at Instagram. I'm really, really bad at Instagram, and I want to take this moment to just address that, because I get messages on Instagram all the time. I used to be really, really involved with Instagram. I used to post things all the time, and I kind of slowed down. And one of the reasons was because a few years back, I went through this really bad breakup. I was struggling with my mental health and stuff a little bit, and so I took a break from all social media that wasn't YouTube, and I just really enjoyed it. I liked being away from all that stuff. And by the time I started feeling better and everything, I was being involved in a lot of field research. I was doing, a lot of geology related work out in the mountains where I had no service, and so I wasn't checking my Instagram or anything anyways. And of course, I was always more active on Instagram during the summers when I wasn't at school, and so all this just kind of bundled together, and I just got used to not being on Instagram. And so it's been hard for me. Like recently, I've been trying to kind of get back on Instagram and connect with you guys, because Instagram is awesome. It does allow you guys a lot of easy access to me. A lot of people can ask me questions and stuff, but it's just, I've gone out of the habit of it, and I need to get back in there again. Remette reached out to me on Instagram. I'm in a group chat with a bunch of knife tubers on Instagram, so it's a great place to get caught up on things that are happening in the community. But it's just been, and of course it's great to interact with you guys there through posts or messages and things like that. But yeah, it's just been, I've just got so used to not being on there. And honestly, it's also kind of hard for me to treat my channel as like a business, I guess, because to me, I'm just a guy making YouTube videos in my free time. Like this is just a hobby for me. My real life and everything, like my real job is geology, right? It's all this other stuff I'm involved with. So I'm doing that in the real world. And so sometimes, I don't treat the channel like a brand, which maybe I should, but that's just my particular style, I guess. So moral of the story is, I really appreciate Remette reaching out to me. That was really, really awesome. I'm glad they noticed my channel. My first experience with their knife has been incredible. I am so sorry that I was latent and tardy in getting back to you guys if Remette is watching this. And for you guys, I will try to make myself more available on Instagram. I will try. So if you want to reach out to me there, you can. And maybe I'll start posting some cool stuff there on Instagram. If you like the kind of things that I post, I have been posting recently to the membership community tabs. So I've posted some things to the memberships. Wow, I'm doing a lot of membership shilling in this video. Awesome. You know what? We're gonna go ahead and end this video right here. Can I recommend this knife? Yes, it's a good knife. If you're interested, I think you'll enjoy it if you buy one. Thank you so much to my channel members on the screen right now at the cowboy level. They're really, really awesome. They help me out with this channel. I really, really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, leave it a like, comment below, and subscribe. I've been Gideon, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.